Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're talking about Ace Bailey, number 5 overall draft pick by the Utah Jazz. We're going to discuss strengths, weaknesses, overall game plan, and how I think it'll adjust to the NBA. Let's go. The 4 categories we're going to talk about are creating, shooting, passing, and defense. Let's start with creating. So the first thing is I was looking for Ace to see how well he could attack off the dribble. This is, I think, one of the better examples right here, where he gets a head of steam going downhill and is able to essentially beat his defender and then use verticality to get a decent look at the rim. It's probably a foul in today's NBA, but even though he misses that, I think he does a good job staying there for the rebound, but a good job beating his initial defender. This one is also something similar. I wouldn't say this is the absolute cleanest, but Ace gets opportunity working one-on-one right here, and he actually loses control of the ball here momentarily, but I love that little jab step right there that got the defender moving side to side. And so Ace loses control of the ball here, but does a great job, frankly, getting it back and maintaining control before getting back to the layup. So even though he misses that again, I think there's a lot of promise there for potential of driving one-on-one. And the second example I saw for him creating is actually with this cut right here. A lot of young players really struggle with knowing when to cut, especially with, good defenders, but with 19 essentially denying him right here for some reason, and the ball being on the other side, he does a great job sprinting to the basket and a good job by the offensive player to see him, and he gets fouled on the way up. And I personally think this is a super underrated skill set because it creates offense when there essentially wasn't any offense to begin with. But he has a great feel for this. On this drive right here is a great opportunity to drive, frankly. And the offense doesn't see him. Filipowski doesn't see him. But he cuts with the defender not looking. The defender has to split these two. So he cuts right in that gap right there. And frankly, if this was a little delayed or a slightly better passer, he would have seen him and that would have been a dunk at the rim. Absolutely love that. That's a great cut by him. Now let's move to shooting. Now shooting was a bit interesting. I thought there were some good examples and some bad examples in this game. We'll start off with the good ones first. But here, the defender he's going against gives him a lot of ground. I think he's because he's worried about getting beat. And so Ace is able to stop and essentially use this distance to have it create an open look for a shot. And if they're giving you that kind of shot, you got to shoot that ball for sure. Now in college, Ace shot 35% on around 4.5 threes per game. That's pretty good, especially as being a young player as he is. So I think that has a lot of opportunity to grow. And is shooting balls like this, I think those are great shots for Ace. And again, I think the shots that you want to shoot, especially at this age, are predicated on what the defense is giving you. And so this is a set play. I don't know how much time they've had to work on this, but they're essentially setting a screen right here, and Ace is going to come off it, and he's going to get a relatively clean look because of it. But again, these are the shots you want. Defender gets a little lost, and you have gap in between you where you're able to rise up and shoot. I saw a statistic the other day that catch and shoot threes are so much higher percentage than 1 or 2 dribbles or 3 dribbles. And going even more nuanced than that, especially shots where you're moving side to side very quickly are so difficult because your head's moving from place to place. It's really difficult to focus on the target. And so this is an example that's an extremely difficult shot. And by definition, just simply shooting that shot, you're going to decrease it by a lot of percentage points. I do think it's very important to note that the shots that he takes in the Summer League are very different than the shots he'll take in the NBA. And so I anticipate them coming back down to earth as far as the quality of shots he's going to take, which means his percentage is probably going to go up a little bit, which I think is a good sign for him. And here's another example of a defender being very close to you that's relatively long for the league as well. And quick dribbles where he's moving side to side and then rises up quickly. It's an extremely difficult shot to shoot. But I think by and large, the shooting will probably be good to find. And so I don't anticipate that being a major issue for him. In fact, I imagine that being a positive, which is good. He shot a decent amount of mid-range shots as well. We saw it the last one. It's clean looking for him. And so this depends, I think, on the offense, how efficient you are. A lot of variables go into it. But he's clearly able to rise up and get clean looks in the mid-range. So that very much depends on how efficient he's going to be. So then we move to passing. And this was one of the I was very pleased with how I saw in this. And frankly, there wasn't that many passes to go with, but the fact that he didn't force passes, I think is also a super critical aspect here. So we can see here, he's going to get the ball and he's going to go downhill right here. And sometimes the simplest pass is the one to do. So we can see the defender steps in here to jab, and he's gambling a long way here. And so if his closeout's going to be long, just take that little advantage and kick it out. Sometimes the simplest passes are some of the most overlooked ones. And so the fact that he's making simple, correct reads, I like a lot. Starting out, the reality is your passes aren't going to be Nikola Jokic or LeBron James because you're not going to be the center point of the offense. So I think making quick, easy reads is so much more important. So there, he created a little space by driving into the defense, and Walter Clayton filled in behind. I think he did an excellent job. I actually am really high on Walter Clayton as well. So pass the ball out, easy, simple reading, all right? Let this person with the next perspective force the defense to rotate and leave the open play over here. Ace Bailey obviously doesn't get any credit for that right there. No assists, no points, whatever. But he caused that by pushing in transition and making a simple kickback out. And here's a little 2-for-1. We're going to move to defense here in a second. But this is another example of him guarding the rim really well and using that to stay in transition. So the first thing is he did a good job hedging between both of them. He didn't allow a pass to the post, and he's also able to guard his man up here. Uses his length, uses the verticality to get a piece of the ball on the way up. That's absolutely beautiful. And then immediately moves in transition. And so here's the emphasis on the passing right here. Is it's not always you got to find the dunk at the rim. It's not always you got to find the wide open three. Sometimes it's simply acknowledging you have defender here, defender here, defender here. That means this player is open. Pass it to him, let him attack, create the little advantage, and let that create the offense. Absolutely beautiful. I love that. And then when we transition to defense, I think this is going to be an absolute plus. I didn't have a whole lot of clips on this just because I wasn't looking for it in particular, but I think he did a great job in this possession, and he had a high motor, never took plays off. I absolutely love that. So I think this is exceptionally good. So one, we saw the switch right there, maintain contact, good, perfect. Okay, as this essentially Spain pick and roll is going to be happening, this big player, this big is the one coming downhill. And so 19 and 28, Ace and 28 are the ones responsible for tagging the roll right here. So Ace does a great job staying with his man. And then we're going to see Filipowski, who was out here on the perimeter, is going to come back here and essentially tell Ace that I'm back. And as soon as he says I'm back, Ace needs to switch from going to front immediately, which is what he was doing, to sprint out here to the perimeter. And he does a great job. 77 a little slow with the pass right there. He does a great job coming back out here to a ball handler, to a guard, and staying low, staying with him. And then immediately switches onto a post player again, understands that 22 Brony is going to roll down here, and does a great job contesting that. Absolutely tremendous defense. That was a great defensive possession by Ace. So in conclusion, I actually think that Ace has a huge potential to be a really solid role player this year. He can shoot well, he can play defense, and he makes reasonable passes, which is exactly what players are looking for. Now it's on to him whether he develops the ability to create more and maintains all those other skills, if not improving on them slightly. But I am very, very optimistic on what Ace Bailey can do. I think he's going to be a very solid player this year and for the upcoming years. If you enjoyed, feel free to like and subscribe. But most importantly, have a blessed rest of your day.